If you are someone who runs a training academy, a training school, or service-based business, but you're stuck with sales and you're unable to fill up or sell in advance, here's why. Okay, so today I want to show you this little diagram. Okay, and the reason why people are usually stuck in sales is because they have yet to master the art of marketing. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so usually most businesses, right, we're always about sell, right? Hard sell, hard sell, hard sell. And many a times, it's like people buy, don't buy, and you start to negotiate things like, time, money, or it's just not the right fit for me and you, right? But what if we can actually figure out how do we do the marketing bit so that it becomes effortless, okay? And it becomes so natural that people just want to come to you, right? Because you've done the marketing, people will just naturally buy, right? Without much resistance because they have actually understood what you stood for, how you're going to help them, and basically just sharing your credentials and portfolio, right? So the idea behind this is very simple. If you're stuck in sales, it's because you've yet to master marketing. Because once you master marketing, then sales become a form of service. So the idea behind this is very simple. The idea is you want to take these people from here, somewhere of a place from doubt, to a place called trust. And you want to be positioned as the go-to authority for people to see you, right? For the expert you are in, hear you, for your authority, for your credential, and eventually pay you, okay, for your expertise and professionalism. So if you're new here, my name is Riley, and basically I run my own training school, both here in Singapore and Malaysia, and professionally I help companies get their programs accredited, funded, and supported. But in this video, I want to talk about this thing known as the visibility engine, which is basically my own system on how do I use it to fill up classrooms, build a personal brand, so that I can get seen, get heard, and get paid, okay? So I really want to dive deeper into that because I think a lot of times trainers struggle, or any service-based business, struggle to put yourself out there, and then you try to get clients, and then after that, clients don't know who you are, especially just getting started. And so we are in this like chicken and egg problem or dilemma where it's kind of like, I know I'm good at this, but, right? Or let's say it's like, how do I get clients if, I don't have any credentials and whatnot, okay? So today in this video, I want to talk about the visibility engine, which is how do you position yourself to be the go-to expert, okay, the go-to authority, so people will choose you over your competitors, okay? So one of the things I want to dive deeper today is this thing known as the visibility engine. And the idea is really, really simple, okay? The first thing is, first of all, we want to help you get seen in the marketplace, okay? So what does that mean? It basically means that, in the marketplace, to get seen with all these different noise, how do you stand out from the crowd? That's one of the toughest things to do, right? Which brings me to the next point. How is it that you're going to get heard? Right, in the marketplace, it's just too crowded, so noisy. And why is it that I should listen to you and not somebody else, even though that you guys might have the same credentials, right? And last but not least is how do you get paid? So what are the different vehicles, technologies, leverage tools that makes you stand out from the crowd? So we want to dive deeper into this, okay? Now, if we dive deeper into this, there's just basically a very simple bridge to cross, right? So in order to get seen, there's just two things you need to do. You got to be very clear with what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do, okay? Who is it that you're going to really serve, okay? And then eventually, you want to be able to create content so that, as per above, right, you want to move people away from doubt to trust. And the only way to do that is to let people binge watch you, right? So the more you binge watch, be it like email them, chat with them, or send them some social media videos whatsoever, there's an opportunity for them to discover who you are, right? So it's about getting seen. Now, in terms of getting heard, likewise as well, we want to be able to create some kind of channel for people to locate you and find you, right? So for example, like YouTube is a part of it, email, etc., etc. So who is your tribe? Who is it that you're actually speaking to? And most importantly is, can you be useful? And the reason why you do that is because you want to open up conversation, okay? Conversation here, okay? And then last but not least, to get paid, what we want to do is to turn, this is powerful, interest to income. And this is basically the visibility engine as to what is the outcome of once you install the visibility engine. What we want you to become is becoming a sage in your niche. Okay, so you are the go-to person that people can find you. All right, so how do we do that? Basically clear, you gotta be clear on who you serve and who we're speaking to, and then create content out of it. Okay, create a community or way to nurture these people, because what we want isn't leads but actually engage leads, right? Meaning there's a two-way conversation through a community. And then last but not least is you want to turn interest to income. So this works for any training business, educational business, service-based business. This visibility engine is something that you should dive deep and actually explore a little bit further. So the question is, what's next, right? So in terms of the visibility engine, there's actually just 4 major steps, all right? And it starts off with, first, you must learn how to shoot, okay? So just like what I'm doing now, I must learn how to shoot, which brings me to the next point is you must learn how to catch people's attention. Hook. So very similarly, it's like, hey, do you know how to shoot like this, where I can change the animation and I can change it, I can just change it back, right? So that's hook. Now next but not least is you need to learn how to boost your content to get more eyeballs, especially if you're in Singapore or Malaysia, the eyeballs is just so small. So organic is really, really tough, especially if you're just getting started. So what is the technique to boost it? And last but not least is loop. Because once you find your successor and winners, you want to keep doing this over and over again. Okay? So we talk about this, and I want to talk about the next part, which is being a sage. So how do we get started, right? we all want to be in a position known as the sage. And the sage is basically someone who has something, okay, that somebody wants to have, like this little gift, okay, but basically don't have, okay? So the idea is, if you are sage, is that this person has something that this person want to have but don't have. The question is, because they're only dreaming, right? The question is, can you help them get what they want, okay? So that's becoming a sage. And in my case scenario, it's kind of like, um, I want to build my own school, my own RTP or my own ATO, which is the training school, because I can make a lot of money, or I can leverage the system to just win the game of education, whatever that might be, right? And so people are like, oh my god, how do I start my school? I want to learn more, etc., etc. So they start off in a place called Wannabe, which is where everybody starts from. It's like, oh my god, this is so exciting, I want to do this, it's so much opportunity. And so then what they do after that is actually climb the ladder of what we call a trainer, right? Speaker, coach, the name varies, right? And so it's kind of like, okay, great. So now you are a trainer, a coach, a speaker, and you might do some kind of certification like ACLP, train the trainer, and it's kind of like, okay, great, what's next, right? And what really sets you apart from the crowd, right, is, are you actually considered a practitioner? And a practitioner is just basically someone who lives by the 3 R's, okay? The 3 R's is basically, are you a researcher? Are you a role model? In someone who can live and walk the talk? Or are you someone who can generate results for yourself and for other people? Okay, so once you're able to do that, and therefore you are then deemed as a practitioner. Why? Because in like Southeast Asia, in Singapore, there's like 10,000 trainers and about 600 training providers. But across the border in Malaysia, we have I think 20 to 30,000 trainers at last check, and I think about 6 to 8,000 training providers, which most trainers are the training providers themselves, right? And everyone's just training for business. And if you talk about just like personal development or like all this like soft skill or high income skill set, it's only a fraction of the market, right? Because most training providers in Malaysia, focus a lot of manufacturing and supply chain and whatnot, and certification, safety, and all that kind of stuff. So when it comes to like coaching, being a practitioner, who is it that you want to be so that you can be a sage in your niche, right? So that you can be the go-to person that people come for, information, so because you are the useful person, and that's really where we want to bring people about. So that's why we basically launched a program, what we call OBS Virtual Facilitation. And the idea behind this is very simple. It is to do what I'm doing right now on screen, to be able to talk, do animations, and basically, draw all these little features, right? And just be very, very, very efficient in terms of creating content. And the idea is that we want to be able to create 6 videos in 30 minutes per week. Okay, so that we can get seen, get heard, and get paid. Okay, we want to be able to distribute this, okay, across 4 platforms to create as many touch points as possible. Okay, so the idea is this, right? You want people to binge watch you. So if you look at this little graph, if this is against time and this is your brand, what most people do is just kind of like post content, or maybe don't even post at all, with the hopes of, hey, maybe sometimes people just buy from here or buy from here because of your brand. But what we're trying to do is to get people to binge watch you so that we can actually get people to buy at a much earlier stage. And we want to do this within 6 weeks or so. Okay, cool. So now, especially if you are a trainer, Singaporean, and basically you are based in Singapore, we got something very special for you. Our program here is actually funded and supported, especially if you're an NTC member or you have Skills Future credit. If you are an eligible participant, this program is actually subsidizable. Okay, so all the information is now in the link below. And here's the best part. If you are someone who is planning to start your own training provider, you want to tap onto the local grants and schemes and whatnot, if you join this program, there's a bonus training video for you. We call it the Classroom Growth System. And it's basically a system on how do you fill up your classrooms and tap onto the local grants and subsidies. So if you want that video, the link is down below in the description. And all the information for this program, OBS Virtual Facilitation, is in the link below. So if any information, feel free to leave a message, and our team will get back to you.